Hey guys, so for my research topic, I decided to focus on the hashtag #MeToo, an analysis of social advocacy movements on Twitter. A little bit of background, the advent of social media platforms like Twitter blowing up in the past few years has created a place for not only friends and family to connect, but for millions and millions of people to have conversations about specific topics. So if we think about hashtags, if you go on Twitter or any social media platform right now and you click on a hashtag, you can see millions of people talking about a specific topic associated to that hashtag. So it makes sense that hashtags have created a space for social movements to thrive. If you think about it, if you wanted to raise awareness for a topic, all you'd have to do is hashtag it and people would start talking about it. Earlier this year, the exposure of Harvey Weinstein sent shockwaves through the media. All the allegations of sexual assault against him and others inspired Alyssa Milano to start the Twitter thread #MeToo in order to give people a sense of the magnitude of the problem that's going on. A little bit of theory in existing literature. So for my study, I looked at movement frames, which was a term coined by Binford and Snow in 2000. Movement frames essentially provide a structure in which to discuss how activists can interpret various issues and how they become motivated to act. So essentially what kind of language is used, in our case with these tweets, what about that language inspires the activists to do something about that. Next we have distributed framing. A study was conducted earlier this year about the Black Lives Matter movement, and they looked specifically at hashtags, #BLM, #Black Lives Matter movement, and what exactly was associated with those hashtags. And they found that social media allows a broad audience to alter and manipulate the movement's construction of meaning. So essentially, the community makes up the meaning. We then went into diffusion of innovation theory, which is used to analyze the spread of information through hashtag usage. So diffusion of innovation we talked about earlier in this semester, but it's interesting to see it being used in current innovations and especially with hashtag usage. Lastly, advocacy campaigns. Chung conducted a study earlier this year as well about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, specifically the main hashtag BCAM that was used to discuss the month and raising awareness for breast cancer awareness. So they analyzed the content associated with this topic to see what was most frequent, what were people talking about. We go to perceptions of sexual assault in social media has been a particularly hot topic in the past few years. We go into the definition of rape culture is defined as multiple pervasive issues that allow rape and sexual assault to be excused, legitimized, and viewed as inevitable, quoted by White and Smith in 2004. So another study conducted earlier this year focused on the existence of rape culture on college campuses. And they found that the overall attitude of acceptance towards social media posts that were focusing on sexual assault, sexual violence, the attitude of acceptance towards that really suggested a prevalent rape culture on campus. So for my study, these were a few research questions I had. Research question 1, what are the main categories of the content of tweets containing the hashtag #MeToo? So were these about personal experiences, people sharing what had happened to them? Were they sharing other people's experiences or supporting other victims or sharing information about assault? Research question 2, what are the main technical characteristics of tweets containing the hashtag #MeToo? Basically, for example, word count, do they include photos, do they have videos, or URLs? Research question 3, what are the main characteristics of those who post the tweets containing the hashtag #MeToo? So what type of users are these? Are they famous? Are they public figures? Are they normal people? And what exactly are they talking about? Research question 4, do differences exist between frequently and infrequently disseminated or retweeted tweets with respect to categories, technical characteristics, and user and network characteristics? For my methodology, I went into Twitter, used API, and pulled about 100 tweets dating from October when the movement started onward. I had another Texas State student code my data based on 4 predetermined categories. So the categories, as I mentioned before, were a personal experience, a shared news story, support messages, and general information and statistics about sexual assault. So these are just a few examples of the types of tweets that were coded into each category here. We can see a personal experience, talking about someone who went through something as a child, a previous news story, a message of support, sharing that the victims were brave and vulnerable enough to speak their truths, and a general information and statistic post that essentially offers a tip guide. So here's what I found. Research question 1, the main categories of content and tweets containing #MeToo were, the hashtag #MeToo were examined, and content analysis showed that one category was significantly more dominant than the others, and that category was the content including messages for support of other sexual assault victims. Research question 2, I found that the main technical characteristics were maximum word count, so that obviously changed from 140 to 280, frequent inclusion of visual component, whether that be a video, an image, a GIF, anything along those lines, URL, and frequent instances of tagging other users or replying to other users' tweets. So in the case of the Alyssa Milano thing, several tweets were in response directly to hers. Research question 3, main characteristics of the users that were tweeting these things. They tended to be non-famous, primarily female, number of followers ranging from tens to several thousands. Lastly, obviously the differences did exist between frequently and infrequently disseminated or retweeted tweets, respect to these aforementioned categories, technical characteristics, and user and network characteristics. A few takeaways from the study. I found that the results of my study really shed light on the characteristics of tweets used during a social advocacy movement. What are people talking about? Why are they talking about it? And what is getting the most attention? So this result for my study further supports a statement I made in the introduction that #MeToo is intended to provide a unified space for survivors and to offer a place to destigmatize perceptions of sexual assault. The more that people talk about it, the more they feel like they have a safe environment. This could be a huge shift in those perceptions. Limitations in future research. A few limitations from this study, obviously a lack of time, very small sample size, and only one coder was used. Future research, it would be ideal to have more time, obviously a much larger sample size and multiple coders who could increase the reliability of the study. Also, I think it would be interesting to account for more factors that may affect the level of engagement and dissemination with specific tweets. What time were they tweeted, who were they tweeted at, etc. Look into specific language structure, most apparent with #MeToo tweets, would be interesting as well, getting very technical with the phonetics and what exactly is used there. Lastly, conducting a survey to assess public opinions would also be really interesting to kind of see how people are reacting to this movement.